this Republican majority thinks that it works for President Trump, as opposed to being an independent branch of government that serves as a check on power. And so we see endless attempts to curry favor, to kiss up. And of course, the quintessence of that is the bill before us today.
The Gulf of America Act would rename the body of water formerly known as the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. The Secretary of Interior, acting through the chairman of the U.S. Board of Geographic Names, would oversee the implementation of the renaming. On his first day back in office, President Trump signed Executive Order 14172 entitled Restoring Names That Honor American Greatness.
Stephen Colbert proposed this as a joke in 2010, and it's important to remember what was going on at the time, what led to the joke. There was a blown BP oil well that gushed oil for many, many weeks and months, killed 11 people, crushed the coastal economy of the Gulf, and Colbert used the name change as a gimmick to raise awareness of the disaster that dragged on for 5 months, something our Republican friends seem to have forgotten about as they advance their dirty drilling agenda. It is weirdly appropriate that they are taking what started out as a joke and actually moving it forward as part of their drill baby drill agenda. And unfortunately, that means the joke is on us.
The Gulf's natural resources and wildlife are an essential part of America's economy. It is one of the largest oil and gas regions in the world, providing about 14% of our nation's crude oil production and an abundance of natural gas. The resources found in the Gulf have driven innovative technologies that have allowed our nation to reach some of the deepest and richest oil reserves in the world. The Gulf is also home to many fisheries teeming with snapper, shrimp, grouper, stone crab, and other species. And it is recognized as one of the most productive fisheries in the world, with the second largest volume of commercial fishing landings by region in the nation, contributing millions of dollars to local American economies. The Gulf is also a vital region for the multi-billion-dollar American maritime industry, containing some of the largest ports in the world, including in Houston, New Orleans, and Mobile. Millions of Americans visit the Gulf each year with their families and take part in all the recreation it has to offer. Given all these contributions from the Gulf to our nation and from our nation to the Gulf, it is clear that the states which border the Gulf, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida, are not the only ones that benefit from it. Therefore, it is fitting that the Gulf be named in honor of America, as it will continue to be a crucial part of our nation for generations to come. The Gulf of America Act has 15 co-sponsors. We encourage more members to sponsor this bill, and I thank the subcommittee for hearing me out today. And Madam Chairwoman, I yield back the remainder of my time.
For the past 50-plus years, NOIA has been the voice and advocate here in Washington for the offshore energy industry, including the men and women in the offshore oil and gas industry in the Gulf of America who work day in and day out to produce the energy that fuels America. It is great to see President Trump and Congresswoman Greene take the steps to recognize the importance of the Gulf of America, shining a light on a strategic national energy asset for our country. The Gulf of America has served as the backbone of U.S. energy production for decades. The U.S. has been producing oil in the federal Gulf of America waters since 1938, and production from the Gulf has been steadily increasing since the very beginning. In fact, the Gulf of America has been producing more than 1 million barrels of oil per day since 1997, and at its highest level of production on record, just over 2 million barrels in August of 2019, right before the onset of the pandemic. Today, the Gulf is producing about 1.8 million barrels of oil per day. With several high-tech projects coming online, we expect this number will increase considerably and further fortify America's energy security. In terms of energy affordability, production from the U.S. Gulf of America plays a substantial role in helping to meet domestic and global demand for energy, helping to put downward pressure on prices.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would caution my colleagues on the other side of the aisle to refrain from making fun of the Gulf of America, because next up, may end up be the District of America that we're working on. So just, keep the jokes at bay. And, maybe we'll just stick with the Gulf of America for now.
I consider myself a serious legislator who was elected to serve my constituents and represent my community, which I strive to do today and every day in Washington and in California's 29th. I would like to spend my time on H.R. 276, which I believe is an unserious bill. As you know, this bill would rename the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America for essentially all documents, maps, and records within the United States. Mr. Melito, I believe that witnesses brought before the committee are to be experts and serious about their role. Briefly, what is the point of H.R. 276? And do you think this is a serious bill?
The point is to change the name from Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and I think it does shine some important light on the Gulf of America from an energy production standpoint, because we are a critical energy artery for the country, and we haven't really been looking at that and understanding the full benefits that it provides to all Americans. It provides tremendous revenues and energy production and jobs and money for land and water
Mr. Melito,
conservation.
I want to reclaim my time. I mean, you're answering, but I don't hear the point. For the record, let's be honest with each other and the American people. At the end of the day, this is not changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico, because the International Hydrographic Organization and all of the world will still call it the Gulf of Mexico. So I asked my colleagues, what's the point of H.R. 276? I'll tell you, there is no point to this bill. H.R. 276 is a joke. No, really. The origin of the idea has been referred to as a joke. Madam Chair, I'd like to enter a PBS News story from January 20th, 2025 into the record. According to this news story, it recapped the origin of this idea, and the premise is based on literal jokes. More specifically, in 2012, a member of the Mississippi legislature proposed a bill to rename portions of the Gulf as Gulf of America, a move that the bill author later referred to as a joke. 2 years earlier, comedian Stephen Colbert had joked on his show.
Excuse
that
me.
Following,
It's without objection. So ordered.
excuse me?
For the unanimous consent, is that right? Is that what you asked for? Was unanimous consent to have that introduced?
Oh, yes. Yes,
okay.
please.
So ordered.
Thank you. 2 years earlier, comedian Stephen Colbert had joked on his show that following the massive Deepwater Horizon oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, it should be renamed Gulf of America because we broke it, we bought it. Even the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, joked that the United States be referred to as America Mexicana, its 7th century name. While Republicans bring up bills that are literal jokes, I do not see the humor. As Americans are struggling, as our children's public education is getting dismantled, as our nation's war secrets are being shared via text messages, as cost of living continues to rise, here Republicans are considering a bill that does nothing to address real issues of the American people. Here Republicans are making a joke out of this body and our jobs to serve. Thank you, and I yield back.